Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to play a game called Sanguine Vows? Romania. Vampires and humans have always coexisted, with no recollection of who inhabited Sivon first. While humans consumed their crops and waters to live, the vampires relied on human blood in order to survive. Attempting to supplement their diet of animal blood, they would soon meet their immediate deaths after complete absence from consuming human blood for 2 weeks' time. Since then, vampires often been seen making deals with humans in exchange for their blood. Those who happened to reside in the shadows of the alleyways, certain vampires would secure their blood by force, causing an underlying fear to settle within every lives of the town's citizens. Just as the world is filled with good and evil, the vampires consist of both individuals with pure and evil intentions. While the good-hearted vampires strive for peaceful coexistence with humans, just as they once had in the past, the nefarious world continued to taint the reputation of humans for their own gain, seeing them as nothing more than lowly play for their own control. The sound of the book clamping shut beside me draws my attention.
I'm bored! Can we please go to the forest and play?
Oh.
I'm bored!
I sigh. My 10-year-old brother was never a fan of sitting still and playing indoors. Despite being the eldest sibling, he was always the same, dragging me outside. My mom always allowed the behavior with a chuckle and reminder to stay safe.
Be sure to take good care of Soren and get back before the sun sets, okay? Be sure to take good care of Soren and get back before the sun sets, okay?
Smiling, she resumes cleaning the kitchen, her back facing me. For a moment, I briefly ponder whether Mom was content with her life, being the sole parental figure responsible for the two of us. Dragging me out of the thoughts, Soren tugs the hem of my dress, signaling he can't wait any longer.
Fine. I'll come with you. We'll see you later, Mom.
With a wave of my hand, I step into nature, hand in hand with Soren, as the two of us head to our usual spot within the forest. I need a reminder to know it's currently spring. Flowers of various hues surround us as we follow a trail through the fresh grass. A soft breeze carrying the scent of pollen and daffodils. The sound of humming forest filled with new joy. Warm sunlight cascading between the leaves and into my skin.
We're here. Did you remember to pack our wooden swords?
Of course! They're in my trusty sack.
Soren gave me a sack. Gave the sack a proud pat before unwrapping the ropes to ravel the worn wooden swords the two of us would use to spar for fun in the forest. For whatever reason, I always been fond of fighting and sword battles. Perhaps taking it after my father, as I recall faint memories of him teaching me the poses and correct stance when I had become a teen, several months after Soren was born. It wasn't part of the world anymore, which is what Mom and I believed since he went missing all those years ago and never came back. Along with those faint memories, he left those two wooden swords he carved himself for the two of us.
Sis, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be, Soren.
Yeah!
So you're 20 and he's 10.
I'm coming for you!
Charging towards Soren with the sword, I managed to break through his defenses, causing him to yield and drop his weapon.
I give up. You're too strong, sis.
He pats heavily, raising both of his hands in defeat with a wide, admiring grin in his face.
That was fun. You did amazing, Soren. You managed to hold off my offense longer than last time.
Before I could give him a ruffle, he dodged my hand, only to accidentally fall onto the grass after losing his bounce. We followed after what was a blissful sound of his light-hearted laughter ringing through the forest, alongside mine as I laid beside him on the push grass.
You know, if I was a vampire, I could totally beat you.
Huh?
Vampires have a lot of power, you know, and they can also run super fast in the dark with their night vision. It's so cool!
I couldn't help but chuckle at my brother's optimistic innocence towards vampires.
You're so silly. Humans can't just turn into vampires.
I say this, but I know there's a special cases. It's not something Soren should worry about, though.
It's getting pretty late. We should head home now.
Aww.
We've still got tomorrow and the day after. Oh, the sacrificial ceremony is happening in 2 days.
I had completely forgotten. Every year, the ceremony comes and goes, like a bore. Even when visiting the main village every now and then, for a walk or to buy groceries, it never was more than a haze. A hazy thought in the back of my mind. I can't believe it's coming around again. Which of course means I might be the person that's chosen.
Sis, we can still play after that, right?
Of course.
My answers are instinctively. A practiced smile quickly glancing my features. Thoughts of the ceremony lingered along the edge of my mind. The two of us have arrived home, safe as usual, before the sun fully set.
Welcome home. Dinner is almost ready. Why don't you go both take a shower first?
Aw, but I'm tired.
Don't be like that, Soren. You can go to bed immediately after a shower and dinner.
Time skip.
I'm exhausted. Let's eat.
Finally!
Did you two have fun today?
We did. We did some sparring today, as per usual.
I look over to Soren to see him completely engrossed in his food. A sight I can't help but smile at, unaware of it, my mother's gaze fixed upon the two of us.
You two really do take after your father, huh?
I love the art. At least we only know her in the background, but I love it.
What's he like? What's he like?
Oh, he didn't say was. Soren suddenly pimped up from the bowl. He carelessly was to no surprise, as he did not have any memories of him.
He's someone with a heart of gold. A fighter at heart. He would never spare me the details of what he actually did in the past. But all I know is that he was in charge of the front lines.
Mom smiled as she recalled those memories, yet I couldn't help but hear a lingering sadness in her voice. Lying in the bed, I couldn't wipe off my mom's longing look for the rest of the night. It has been so many years since then, yet I never once saw her falter in life, still doing her best to take care of all three of us when she could have sought a better life in the main village. Although I helped out with chores, there's no mistake that she was willing to give up a large part of her freedom. After all, there is still something to take care of. I really want to live a life like that hers. In comparison to my village, the marketplace was always lively and thriving with the townspeople of Crestbarrow, a town considered to be occupied by the middle class. As someone who always lived in poverty, we are always grateful to receive help from them when the necessaries needed to survive day to day. Hey, my friend Carly and I meet up, as per usual, to keep me and my bar company like she does every so often. We walk along the rows of stalls, glancing at the different items displayed upon the multitudes of stalls. Fruits and vegetables to jewelry and clothing.
Look at this beautiful necklace!
I smell at Caroline's holds the silver ornament chained up, admiring the beauty connected to it. And where it wasn't something that we could afford, we tried it on nevertheless, drawn to its reflective elegance. The merchant, who had kept their eye on us the whole time, spoke up.
A wonderful piece of jewelry for a wonderful lady. It suits you very well.
I watched as Curly sighed guiltily, placing the necklace back on in the box as it was displayed in.
I can't afford it, sadly, but thank you for the compliment.
Stepping away from the stall, we continued down the street there, living through the crowd.
So, Soren mentioned wanting to become a vampire when he grows up.
Corinne chuckles.
I can understand the fascination. Vampires are so mysterious and charming. Who wouldn't want to delve into that sort of life?
I don't know. Well, I'm playing the game, but really, do you want to? Depends on the story, and the lore, and the vampire. Corinne's love and borderline obsession towards vampires was always something that I could never wrap my head around. Although I do understand the fascination for something unknown. Well, even the girls in town are willing to throw themselves towards them like they were worth gold. Was it simply because of their attractiveness, or did it have something to do with the desire to be bit and taken care of?
I wouldn't.
You're an exception. You're the only girl I know in our village that wouldn't.
Tomorrow is a sacrificial ceremony. Thus, every present gossip of who will be chosen as a sacrifice is unavailable. Since the beginning of the time, apparently, we were told that the chosen one would be wed to a pure blood of choice. But I'm starting to have doubts about what truly happened to the chosen woman. Nearby commotion pulls me away from my thoughts as I look over at the split group of girls surrounding two men a few stalls down. The girls' voices are so loud it was practically impossible not to listen on their conversation. While I craned my neck, I found myself staring at one of the two men. Make eye contact with the brown-haired man. Make contact with the black-haired man. I'm gonna do the black-haired man. And then go back, because I'll see. Okay, they are the vampires. I can tell with the veins. My eyes drift to the black-haired man. His golden eyes suddenly stared off into the distance as his face is wrapped in irritation. It seems as though he doesn't want to be there.
He looks quite unfriendly.
Hey, we didn't get to see you last time.
You're right. He doesn't really like us, does he?
Of course he does, right?
Black-haired man briefly glances at the brown-haired man, answering him brutally.
You're right. I actually don't.
The girls scoff at the brown-haired man tries to outright their disappointment. I almost wonder if the guy carries a sixth sense because my prolonged gaze was starting to catch his attention. Golden irises, reminiscent of the piercing yet gorgeous rays of sunshine I often see when playing with Serena in the forest. It caused me to jump. His body language and lack of interest was proof enough that he did not want to be here, not to mention his lack of contact with any of the surrounding girls. The last thing I want to do is anger a stranger like that. Yet I can't help but stare at him. It doesn't take long before he averts his gaze away from mine with a huff, continuing to stare off in the distance, perhaps in thought, as a crowd of girls surround him persist. Corinne's voice interrupts my thoughts as I return to focus on her.
Those two are extremely attractive, don't you think? Oh, I wouldn't mind having to marry one of them.
They're vampires. They were often quite good-looking, yes, but there is more to a person than their looks. I sigh.
Vampires are just like us, Coralie. They breathe the same air as us and feel the same emotions as us. They're not as special as people make them out to be.
Except for the drinking human blood to survive part.
That's true.
Anyways, how are you feeling about the ceremony tomorrow?
I never understand the point of the sacrificial ceremony. Why did we have to sacrifice a girl every year just to keep on in good terms with the vampires? Were there not already countless humans being offered to the vampires? Why did they have to force someone to leave their life behind to run off with some vampires?
Terrible. Why are we forced to partake in it when there are plenty of women that would volunteer?
Looking at the Corinne's face, I could sense her indifference in my response. She would have been the most willing volunteer, but the yearly sacrifice were always chosen randomly regardless of their beliefs, and it was absolute.
If nothing else, someone like you shouldn't be forced to participate against your will. It's unfair.
Someone like me.
Would you risk it? Living with a vampire and potentially being their food source?
Corinne shrugs, staring off to the distance as she speaks.
Anything would be better than how I live now.
Her words resonate with me. Life in our village was never the best, and furthermore, living off scraps is what we have to bear with for the rest of our lives. In the end, we couldn't bring myself to hate her for wanting something better. I leaned against the wall in the dark alley with the others as we discuss tomorrow's plans. This will be the first time I'm able to witness the sacrificial ceremony in person.
So, you ready for tomorrow? The sacrificial ceremony isn't something we usually get to see firsthand.
Of course. I've always been curious about it.
During the trust of my leader, it took an exceptionally long amount of time. Much too long for in human years at least, but I was finally able to do so. It wasn't ideal work, but never once did I stay from what I had to do. It was because of them that I was able to live the life I had so long since thought for.
Man, you're really lucky. It's rare for Draven to promote a turned vampire.
Hey, it's well deserved. He's been busting his ass for a leader all these years.
I appreciate the kind words. As much as I'd love to stick around, I do have to head out, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate...
Three of them nod their heads at me and wave as I turn and walk out of the alleyway. The walk of the castle is dreary and lonesome. I can't help but drag my feet and tug up the beaten path. My thoughts elude me as I look up the sky, shrouded in darkness. Is this even worth it? Seeing the same old sacrificial ceremony in person?
Ugh, I can't sleep at all.
My thoughts were running wild about today's sacrificial ceremony as I struggled to get out of bed. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about the whole being chosen. Every year, I would be thankful that I wasn't, but my luck was growing thinner over the years due to the drilling numbers of young women in the village. Every year, on their sacrifice, my hands gripped to the texture of my blanket, unaware that it might be the last time I would sleep in the bed I grew up in. Hey, I would dress up as a boy if making my way down in the kitchen, fully dressed. I find my mom and Soren prepare breakfast for the three of us. I mean, you could do swords fighting, so maybe dressing up a boy would be a good idea. A solemn expression in the dark circles of her eyes tell me that she hasn't slept well either. Can't blame her at all.
Need any help?
We got it covered!
It doesn't take long. Take him long to carry the plates of food over while I set the tinsel on the table. We sat down and eat our food as I usually in the atmosphere. Silence persists until Soren raises the question.
What will happen if you're chosen, sis?
Don't say such things. Not now.
I smell her. I take a small bite of my food.
I'm sure it won't happen. How about we go spar in the forest again after the ceremony? I'll even bring Dad's book with us.
Soren grins. Why do we? Before continuing to take bites of his bread. Physically. Although it warms my heart to see him smile. There's an unsettling feeling in my chest, as if things were about to take a turn. Town of Crestfall bristles with citizens and vampires alike, here to witness the tradition and prepare for the sacrificial ceremony. Respectfully. Saying that I was simply obnoxious is an understatement. The crowd continues to grow and gather in front of the stage where the ceremony is taking place. Some of the townsfolk are making sure the stage is squeaky clean, while the others are decorating the stage in beautiful daffodils and lilies of different colors, ensuring everything is prime and proper for the prime event. Making my way through the crowd, I attempt to search for Karin. I feel a tap on my shoulder. As if I turn around, only to be met by a weird clothing. I tilt my head to get a better look at the tapper in question.
Miss, was it perhaps you who dropped this?
Now facing a stunningly beautiful blonde man, my eyes flicker to his hand holding a black stone, piercing upon the middle of his palm.
My stone!
Our fingers linger for a second or two as I take the stone from his hand, clenching it tightly. I can't help but notice how abnormally cold his hand was, but the thought left as quickly as it came, as the thoughts of losing Soren's gift so foolishly flowed in my mind. All I could think of was how Soren would have been devastated if I lost it.
You should be careful. Don't want your precious belongings to be stolen by someone, do we?
Thank you so much. I'll make sure to remember that.
I think the only problem I have with the game is why did I have to name myself, and I named myself Digital Wave, but my name's actually still A. The mysterious blonde displays a enchanting smile as he waves, his silhouette disappearing into the crowd. Soon after, there's no doubt that he left a lasting impression on me for sure. Patting the Ascian stone, now safe and sound in my pocket, I quickly resume my way through the crowd. The stage came into view. Figures dressed in black cloaks, almost like a vampires from another division of Adara, stand guard around the stage. Of course, others have prestigious pureblood, also known as the Roar of Karsafal. Zergirl's division, he also in charge and tasked with controlling the crowd in various ceremonial tasks. I waste no time, making my way to Corlin after spying her in the crowd. Even by her profile, it's obvious that she's nervous, yet betrayed and giggly over potential being chosen.
Hey, Corlai. I managed to make it on time.
I was wondering where you were.
Yeah. So my name's Digital Wave, but my name in the...
Sorry. I almost lost Soren's lucky stone in the crowd, but someone picked it up and returned it to me.
Soren's lucky stone, huh? I'm glad you managed to get it back.
Me too.
While in the temporary silence between us linger, I couldn't help but let out a breath. I held my gaze, shifts to the stage again, find that abundance of figures in black coats unnerving.
Don't worry about the ceremony. I'm sure everything will turn out fine.
Nodding hesitantly, I appreciate her efforts to calm me down, even in her state, yet my heart is still pounding in my chest after the thoughts of the potential candidates. What if Caroline ends up being chosen? Would I even see her again? Would she be happier leaving the village behind? If I'm chosen, will I ever see Mom and Serene again? I don't want to be married to some stranger over some stupid ceremony. I imagine marrying out of love, to be in the warm embrace of someone I'm truly in love with. If anything, perhaps the whole marry and live happily ever after story wasn't even true. It could all be a cover-up for picking a woman that they think will make the best meal and keep them who knows where until they no longer useful to them. Of course, I'll never dare question such out loud. The mayor of Crestwell starts to make his way onto the stage, raising a hand up high, signaling for everyone to crowd to quiet down. He holds up a piece of parchment before offering a smile to the crowd.
I thank you all for being here with me on this very special day. The sacrificial ceremony is a day that both us and vampires alike in Crestbell hold dear to our hearts.
Caroline takes a hold of my hand and squeezes it in reaffirmation as we continue listening to the mayor's speech.
We are eternally thankful to the vampires who continue to share their wisdom and resources and protection with us. This ceremony has always been a tradition of gifting our thanks to them for their continuous support for us for over a millennia. If not for them, we would certainly not have flourished and prospered as much as we have today.
This is a cult. With the speech going, I greeted by Mom and Serene, who managed to catch up to us from behind. Serene looks up to me nervously, but I make sure to reassure him by gesturing to the Ascian stone in my pocket, causing his lips to form a small smile.
I will now call out the candidates for this year's sacrifice. When your name is called, please come forth to the stage.
The mayor starts to name off a handful of women on the list. I continue to hold Caroline's hand until her name is called and she joins her candidates on the stage.
Stellia Everhart.
That's me. My heart freezes at the sound of my name. I barely register my family's grasp behind me as I attempt to wrap my head around my first time of being chosen as a candidate. Oh wait, no, my name's Digital Wave. Got the wrong person. 6 years of standing on the sidelines, witnessing countless women coming up onto the stage. Now I was one of them.
Why me?
Looking over to my mom, I could tell she wasn't holding herself back. Crying, trembling in hand, she holds tightly onto my brother, whose face is expression. It pained my heart to see them this way. I know there's nothing I can do aside from offering a strange smile to reassure her. The mayors repeat my name, forcing me to step forward as I make my way to the stage, staying next to Kari. She starts staggering slightly towards me, whispering in my ear.
I'm sorry. Let's hope that we won't be chosen amongst the others.
Considering how this is the second time Kari's been chosen as a candidate, it's no surprise to me that she would think it that way. After all, we were only two out of more than 7 women so far. The odds of being picked were against us. I take a deep breath in an attempt to calm my nerves, but this is just too much to process at the moment. Suddenly standing in the directly in front of the stage appears a royal purple-haired man, making a presence known as he heels click against the stone, drawing everyone's gaze as he made his way onto the stage. I recognize the man as Ezekiel, the leader of the South Division. He rules over the part of Servian, which includes Questbell, my village. My village. The silence is deafening as Crestial stops right beside Samir in the center of the stage before unraveling a new piece of parchment in his hands. It seems like the one he's holding is more update list of candidates, as his division is responsible for making the official decision. Even without the mayor taking a step back, Ezekiel's presence as a peer-put is enough to command the attention of everyone gathered. Despite many gazes upon the parchment, with those steely emerald eyes of his, I could hear the heartbeat ring in my ears, body jittering over the name that was about to be uttered from his lips.
The woman chosen for this year's sacrificial ceremony is Stelia Everhart.
No. My name's Digital Wave. You got the wrong person.
What?
Mutter and Soren rush onto the stage, without thought, pulling me towards them as they swept me into their arms. I hear sobs escaping from Mother's lips as her tears strain up the fabric of my shirt as she pushes my ear shaking tight. Soren's eyes are wide in disbelief, tears streaming down his cheeks and crack on his voice, as if I've broken a promise.
You said you wouldn't be chosen! You said you were going to play with me after this!
Circle's men rushed in and ushered them back from the crowd, separating me from the last embrace I would ever feel from a family. Mine swirls completely distorted as an attempt to process the information. I make my way over to the stand between the mayor and Zekiro. What's going to happen to me?
As we gift this woman to the vampire of choosing to be wed and connect both human and vampire as one, we continue to bring harmony to our races and live together in peace in the region of Sylvan. You are all standing before Zekiel and I as witness to such a special day.
Okay, one thing special. Maybe put it all the way, space it out because I can't see the S still yet. The mayor steps back once more, nodding at Zekiro to take his spot. Zekiro's place is governed, the gloved hand on my back as he motions for me to step forward alongside him.
I now conclude the sacrificial ceremony. I thank you all for attending this beautiful day. Please, be sure to stick around as we have plenty of food, refreshments, and entertainment for you all.
The ceremony finally ended, leaving a stashily sober atmosphere behind us. The mixture of happiness and dread lingers within the townsfolk as they dispense. Zekiro moves his hand for my back, walking away without another word. It's as if it's simply an errand for the pristine pureblood, an event read into his work schedule. I feel flooded with empathy and absolute betrayal. The vampires, the mayor, this tradition is forced all the women to abide by such rules without any choices to stay or go. Now, I am to do nothing but wait as they force me to abandon my family, as if this was right and just a fate. Are they really meant to succumb to our fate so helplessly? A small pair of arms wrap around me, breaking my trance, and Sullen sobbing into the fabric of my dress as he wailed.
You can't leave! I don't want you to go!
Soren. My voice comes out of the coarse whisper, my mind drawing a blank. Who would he spar with every day. Who would help Mom work and support the funds for their family? I turned to look at my mother. I could see she's on the verge of despair, yet still upholding the restrained smile on her face. She takes a hold of my hand and places a ring in my palm. I know exactly what is the moment I lay my eyes on it. It's a dad's ring.
It was your father's. It meant a great deal to him and was passed down through generations. So make sure you take good care of it.
I clenched the ring in the same hand, holding a sandstone my brother had gifted me. I guess I won't be lucky after all, son. I'm sorry.
Sir Zekiel!
My heart almost jumps out of my chest as I catch Soren running over to the aforementioned vampire, taking a hold of his shirt and tugging it down on the fabric. It's nothing else. My real brother was indeed afraid of nothing. Zigger looks down at Soren with an incomparable expression, as if he was unbarred by a sudden gesture.
Please don't take my sister away! We already lost our father. Can't you choose someone else?
Soren!
Please don't take my sister away!
Soren!
This desperate yell, my mother holds enough weight to break Soren's resolve, causing him to release Ezekiel and drag his feet all the way back to our mother. Our mom. I hugged Mom and Soren before stepping towards Ezekiel, bowing my head as apology before him.
Please pardon my brother. He did not mean any harm.
No apology is needed.
Standing straight, I sighed in relief, thankful that Ezekiel seemed to be one of the more level-headed vampires. If he wasn't, I don't dare imagine what would have happened.
My men will assist you with retrieving your things from your home. Once you're ready, they'll escort you to my private headquarters.
Ezekiel spares a glance at both my mother and Soren before walking, causing his men to task remaining. Before leaving the town square, I walk over to this Coralie, whose expression is controlled by hurt and jealousy. I can't blame her for feeling that way.
Coralie, I'm sorry it had to be you.
I know she meant it. She's my best friend after all. But I know she wishes to be in my shoes right now. I have no idea what to say. Coralie pulls me into a hug, arms wrapped around my torso for only a moment. She quickly retreats from the hug, placing a hand on my shoulder as we share our last words.
Take care.
Without breaking down completely, I offer her a brief nod before she turns away, disappearing into the crowd. After the ceremony ends, Circle's men escort me back to my home, along with my mother and Soren, to pack my belongings. I never owned many personal belongings, only a few pieces of clothing and knickknacks. The carriage shakes as we travel down the bumpy road into the forest. In the forest, I look down at my father's ring, the wearing in my middle finger, and the stone in my other hand. Soren had once told me that the stone would keep me safe. Even though I never believed the stone's supernatural power, I couldn't help but believe being chosen was karma of some sort. As I sat along in the carriage, full of unanswered questions began to fill my mind. Why was I chosen? What was so special about me? The girl who never once cared to be sacrificed was now on her way to Zekel's home. Is he one I have to marry? I run a thumb over my father's ring as it eases my worries away. Guilt continues to consume my entire being for thoughts of what my mom and brother were going to do without me. My eye jerks forward, and the carriage becomes to a stop. The sound of howling wind stammering into the fort of trees vibrates through the forest before being cut off in a high-pitched screech from Zekel's men. The screams only last for a split second or two as they were caught off guard by some unknown disturbance. What the? Carefully, I scoot over to the current of the carriage. I gulp, peeking through the cracks to make sure I wasn't discovered. My eyes widen as I find a hooded figure taking down Zigro's men, one by one, before my very eyes. Fear crosses through my veins as I feel adrenaline kick in. Should I run or stay still? Why would someone attack the carriage? Just a blink of my eye, someone locked the door onto a pair of unfamiliar eyes. Of motion, as if pausing the news. Stand on me. Shriek as the current flies open, revealing the coven visual. Push myself onto the opposite side of the seat, intending to keep keep some distance between us. Wait for the individual to keep inching until they tower over my body. Their face scared by the hood. There's something off about them. What is it? Before I could process my actions, I had already extended my foot out towards their chest as hard as I could, causing the figure to fall back into pain and with blood. Take the opportunity to shove my way past him, running out of the carriage door and onto the road with no hesitation. Freedom at last! Just run! They won't catch us. I think they're dead. Wind whips through my hair as I run fast as my feet will let me through the trees, hoping I'll be able to camouflage myself within the bush. Chest burns from the sheer amount of exertion I put into every step, gradually losing my breath, as I still riding the drone that carries my legs. Was this what the sacrifices had to endure when they were chosen? Maybe if I stood ground, things wouldn't have turned dire like this, and my life wouldn't be in danger. The sound of wrestling footsteps behind me causing me to panic. At my limit, unaware of my endurance, Sparring had carried me further than expected. The figure was able to keep out my trial. So, what kind of creature are they? Are they even human? Well, there's vampires! I suddenly felt the precious arms when my body slammed into the ground. I spurred out a sheer of coughs, the impact of causing the ruffian to tear through my clothes and skin, blood slipping into the fabric. The attacker pins me down, my wrist, rendering me immobile, struggling to open my eye. All I could see is a pair of bloodshot eyes that bolt into mine. Before I could even react, the creature, a vampire, has already bared their fangs towards my neck, swiftly accompanied by a hiss as they sink their teeth into my neck. Stinging sensation makes my eyes falter, and I feebly use my main strength in an attempt to push them with their Comes next something I have never even heard happening. The cloaked individual places himself onto my neck, only to slam their mouth onto mine. Rain and blood on his lips oozes to my mouth. The excess could fight them off. There was nothing more I could do. Sharp, intense pain shot through me, causing me my muscles to wrench and my vision begin to blur. I feel my eyelids starting to close on their own. The world around me fading into black. I don't want to die. Hello, everyone. Oh, technically I've stolen this. Yeah, there was a power outage, so I had to do it another day. Luckily, I saved and turned off the computer, but like a 4-hour power outage. So yeah, I had to do this. Slowly regaining consciousness with a pounding headache, an unfamiliar ceiling comes into view. I sat up while attempting to register last night's situation, only to slam into someone else's hand. Falling back onto the couch cushion.
Ow.
And sorry if my voice kind of sounds weirder. But, I kind of just woke up. This is next morning.
Ah!
Or my forehead, in pain, tilts my head upwards before I meet the eyes of the person who retrieved my lost item earlier in this sacrificial ceremony.
You're...
Hello again to you too.
The blonde laugh rings through through the air like a bell as he mimics my gesture, rubbing his forehead exactly where our impact occurred.
Are you feeling any better, miss? Or should I say...
I can't bring myself to speak as I struggle to get up, eyes scanning the room in confusion. It's a ravish living room. Lavish living room. A place I never thought I would stop foot in, yet here I was. This must be Ezekiel's private headquarters, but...
Wait, how did I get here?
Rain and Viren found you unconscious deep in the woods. We had a search party looking for you after your carriage didn't arrive on time.
I remember being tapped in the carriage by a cloaked figure. Wait.
Are Ezekiel's men?
They're... all dead.
Raising my hand, my fingers run across my neck in a fragile manner as I begin to recall the events of the attack in my mind. I quickly raise a hand on my skin. I quickly raise a hand to feel the skin on my neck for any bite marks. My skin felt smooth as it normally did, no blood and no wounds. I swear, was I imagining things?
It seems that our chosen is finally awake.
A vaguely familiar voice echoes through the room, following the footsteps of a few others as they step into my vision. A group of men, vampires in fact, standing before me, all recognized from the glimpses I have of them back in Crestbell. Two of them I've seen surrounded by a crowd of girls back in the market. Ezekiel, who has been in the charge of the sacrificial ceremonies as the leader of the division that ruled Crestbell, and my thoughts trail off as I look at the blonde I first spoke to when I woke up, the one who had turned someone's lucky stone to me. My gaze flickers towards our faces.
I remember you all.
The black-haired vampire blinks, seemingly unamused by my words.
You really do stick out like sore thumbs in town. All thanks to Rain right here, who just loves dragging me around whenever the other two aren't available.
Rain has a apologetic look as he laughs awkwardly, and rubbing the back of his neck.
We don't exactly blend in the crowds when we're together.
I can't really. We don't exactly blend into crowds when we're together.
That's Viren for you. It's very nice to meet you, though.
I'm Alaric, your knight in shining armor.
I chuckle as Eric's 40 clip before shifting my attention to Ezekiel, who stood in silence this entire time watching me.
What actually happened? Last I remember, I was losing consciousness on the forest floor. What happened to my attacker?
Ben changed his hesitant glances, slightly debating whether they should share such information with me. Ezekiel breaks the silence after clearing his throat.
There is no appropriate answer as of now, but what we are aware of is that you've been bitten and are currently in transition.
Transition? As in transitioning from human to vampire? What are you talking about? That's not possible!
Pause my outburst by recalling the moment of the attack when I ran through the woods to escape the perpetrator. I was pinned to the ground and...
So I really was bit.
Shakily, I grabbed my throat, vaguely recalling the taste of iron staying inside my mouth, the feel of warmth, liquid, trickling down my skin, my tongue on my teeth, no fangs just yet. I shake my head, snapping myself out of my terror as I look towards them with determination. There has to be a way to stop the transition before it completes. There has to be.
I don't want to be a vampire. Please, tell me how to stop it.
Rowan shakes his head, guilt plastered on his face as he avoids my gaze.
I'm sorry, but there's no stopping the transition once it's been initiated.
My arms fell limp by my sides. I don't want to accept this reality. What would Mom and Soren think? Would they even consider me a part of the family anymore? Would they even believe me? Not to mention Coralie and all the villagers. There's no way I could return home as a vampire. Not that Ezekiel and the men would let me, it seemed. Keeping the starlights with each passing thought, eyes sharing in disbelief. I run out of strength to stand, causing Alec to pivot towards me, holding me onto me as he guides me to the couch.
This is the first time this has ever happened following the sacrificial ceremony. This can cause a huge problem if we don't deal with it as soon as possible.
Ezekiel rubs his temple, stress etched in his face.
Coming up with a plan altogether would be our best solution as of now.
Alec lets out a light whistle, causing a lot of them to look over at him. Ezekiel raises his brow in curiosity.
I think it's best to hide her identity for the time being, until we figure out what to do. At the very least, everyone else still thinks she's just the chosen sacrifice. Nothing more.
Wait.
One of you could help her with her
I think it's best to hide her identity for the time being, until we figure out what to do. At the very least, everyone else still thinks she's just the chosen sacrifice. Nothing more.
One of you could help her with her transition. Might be better if Alaric helped her since he went through it too.
One of you could help her with the transition. It might be better if Eric helped her since he went through it too. Rowan followed up with a statement. His words were brute, not hiding the fact that he could possibly care less about me.
Unless you prefer not going through the transition.
Unless you prefer not going through the transition, like killing me.
Unless...
I stay silent, still needing time to process the barrage of information. These men remain quiet, only my response as they compliment quietly. Eventually Ezekiel speaks.
We'll discuss this more tomorrow. Rain, show her to her room if you would please.
I remain seated, watching Ezekiel motions for everyone to leave, except Rain. Rain holds his hand out to me in a delicate manner, not wanting to oppose himself too rashly.
Follow me.
I shake my hold in his hand for a sport as I stand up with a wobble before following him to my new room. Everyone escorts me to my room, leaving me alone for my own accord soon after, which I immediately appreciate. The room is fascinating, to say the least. The antique design of the wooden furniture combined with the neutral colors of the decor make it feel exquisite and inviting, as if they had stepped onto a palace made for royalty. Though I don't have the energy to admire it any longer as I drag my feet over to the bed and lie down, stinking into the soft mattress. The moment of solitude finally allows my pent-up emotions to become known, tears welling into the corner of my eyes. As I let out, they fall faint sobs, falling my lips. Everything that has been repressing pours into the air. The reality of the situation finally cementing itself in my mind.
Why? Why did this have to happen to me?
I cry out in sorrow for the life I once had, for the life I would never have, for the life that has to be. I've been stripped away from of the freedom of choice for my own future. Fate was cruel and unforgiving, it seemed. Why was I chosen to be given such misfortune? I wish I knew why. I wish I knew if there was a reason at all. I wish I was home, but now I have no choice but to live as a vampire, a lifetime that would feel like eternity, filled with bloodlust and misery awaits me. Burying my face into the soft pillow, I squeeze it hard as I can, allowing my tears to strain the fabric of the pillow until my eyelids begin to falter, soon flurrying close in exhaustion. I wake up in the numb pain inside my mouth, my fingers rising to poke my gums, only to realize the cause. My canines have grown longer and sharper overnight, as my teeth have grown into a pair of fangs. Crossing my cheek with a palm, I tried my best not to hiss in pain as they fully emerge, proliferating, saying in alongside the rest of my teeth. I feel a sudden pain, feeling exponentially thirsty all of a sudden. To my luck, there's already a glass of water placed beside my table. Swing my legs to the bed, I quickly gulped in the iced beverage, feeling the cold water coat my dehydrated mouth. It didn't hit right for some odd reason, as if the water wasn't enough to quench my thirst. I need blood. This missing the thought to the back of my mind, water being the last of my concerns. I get up, decide to head down to the kitchen to look for something to eat, hoping that the small sack would soothe my troubles. I make my way to the kitchen only for faint voices to be heard from the door. Behind the door. I quickly duck behind the wall, close to the dim dining area, and began to listen to and on what the familiar voices were saying.
It's going to be really bad if the Peer Society hears about this.
I'm gonna do this again.
It's going to be really bad if the Peer Society hears about this.
I found out what was happening. Audio is at 16.
We just need to help her adapt to her new life. Learn how to control the hunger, the emotions, that sort of stuff.
Showing signs as Eric's optimism. His tone is frustrated one.
Instead of having to explain why this situation happened, wouldn't it be easier to just get rid of her?
I'm gonna keep listening. My body froze as Varen's harsh words, unnerved by the thought of being killed. By counting, continuing to peek from the gap of the door. It's not like getting chased down by deranged vampires was my fault. I'm a victim. I don't deserve death.
Dude, are you out of your mind?
No one, I repeat, is killing anyone.
As I leave, at least no one will be killing me on purpose. Anytime soon, hopefully.
The best plan for now is for her to stay here and accompany one of us until she can learn to control her newfound hunger, abilities, and emotions.
Stay here? As if I'm not allowed to leave the mansion?
You three need to be more accepting of this. It's a huge change. 1 second ago she was a human, the next she's a vampire. It's a lot to endure and process both physically and mentally. Trust me, I've been there.
Watch as others nod their heads, except for Zerlin, who glances away from them, looking a bit ashamed about his suggestion. There are so many questions I want immediately answered, and on top of the dread of what was to happen to me next in my life as I recently turned vampire. The thought of making a break for it escaping across my mind at one point, but the longer I listen to them, the more it disciplines. They seem to be trying their best to figure out the best solution with my well-being in mind. They tossed out the idea of getting rid of me, despite the news of the near-human sacrifice turning into vampire that friends dispute the peace and Sevran. Even if it hurts me, both physically and mentally, I can't give up. I have to try my best, no matter what it takes. With my newfound determination, I barged into the kitchen, sending the surrounding men into various degrees of shock. I stopped towards them with bows firm, lips pursued. Say again. I stopped towards them with brows furrowed, lips pursed into a thin line. My voice was weak, but resolved with stern.
I'll stay. I'll learn how to be a vampire.
The hesitation in my voice is quite obvious. The four men stare at me in silence, their expressions unreadable. The silence killing me. Embarrassment starts to creep up to me, heat raising to my cheeks as I look down towards the floor, avoiding eye contact.
Maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
Seeker's cough breaks the silence as his emperor's eyes lock onto mine.
Having you cooperate with us is certainly the best case scenario, since our main priority is for word to not get out about this.
I can't help but smile as the reassuring words before realizing just what that meant for me. My smile disappears as I purse my lips.
Wait, what if I don't cooperate?
The main issue would be a war breaking out. There's already been lingering tension on the political side, as well as a stalemate between the vampires and humans as of late. Things could turn downhill hastily on both sides, if we aren't cautious with our methods.
I give him a approving nod, understanding just what is at stake. Although I was aware of the names of people involved when it came to politics, I never quite had much knowledge of its history due to living in the countryside my entire life. I did notice the softening expressions on others, no longer on guard. No one is first to speak, stepping forward, before placing a hand on my shoulder, offered me a reassuring smile.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us.
Man turns his head, Farrellin sideways a silent glance, who immediately catches it with its implication. Having no choice but abide, Farrellin lets out a breath as he was holding, before taking a step forward next to the other. Only able to catch his confident expression for a moment before he speaks to me in a different tone.
We'll help.
Farrellin then turns away, ignoring the people around Raylan moves forward toward him. Eric is the last amongst the four to speak to me.
Take your time processing everything, okay? Though, the situation is pretty urgent, so don't take too long.
He winks at me, sitting in their dazzling grin of his before they gradually all exit the room, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Alright, there's no turning back now. Draven, who is also known as the leader of the East Division in the capital city, Adran, calls a sudden meeting late at night, casting most of us off guard and we wait our seats with stern expressions. One of our commanders whispers something in Draven's ear, causing a chuckle here and there as he takes his time rallying some kind of information. It seems to be good news, thankfully. Working under Draven these past several years has been fine, but getting chewed out from time to time was not a good look. The last thing anyone wants is to see Draven in bad news. After a while, Draven takes a position in front of us all, satisfying a grin in his face. Naturally, heave a sigh of relief.
As predicted, the plan has been set in motion without any issues.
I don't care to ask for details, knowing all well that they only spare us the news if needed. Although I had intended just risen. Although I just indeed just risen in the ranks, I still need to prove myself to be truly trustworthy. It's been a tough journey, but it's all for the sake of a great cause for the people I care so deeply about. I hear my name boomed in the room, yanking me out of my thoughts as I stand up on instinct. His voice resonates through the room with authority.
Since you've successfully shown me your capability over the last few years, I've decided to put my trust in you. Start keeping an eye on the other leader, Zekiel, and that precious pet he's acquired from the sacrificial ceremony. That is all I need.
I find his emphasis on this year's sacrifice quite suspicious. I may be overthinking things, but he didn't want to turn to me. I nod my head in acceptance, unable to help but see if I could get an answer out of him.
Sir, apologies for my interruption, but why is the sacrifice so important to the plan?
Darvin keeps his icy composure as he responds to my Terry.
It's none of your concern. You will do what is told of you. No questions asked.
Of course. Apologies.
The room is silent as we continue to listen to and accept his words and commands, eventually dispensing from the meeting. My men have left the room, leaving me on my own accord. I walk over to the window, staring up at the sky as I laugh at my own thoughts.
Everything's coming together nicely.
Run my hand through my hair, sighing in sad fashion as my gaze shifts to the waxy crescent of the incomplete moon, so close to completion. Slowly but surely, the full moon will arrive, bring me joy and glory.
I can't wait to finally meet you.
I'm gonna take a guess and say no. Wow, I can't wait. I love this. If you want more content, please subscribe, like, help out, and comment below. See you guys next time. Check this game out. I love the artwork. And yeah.